Hi, I'm Dr. Thomas Armstrong, and I'm making a series of videos to promote my new book, The Power of Neurodiversity, Unleashing the Advantages of Your Neurodivergent Brain, completely revised and updated second edition. This is a second edition of a book that I wrote 15 years ago, which is called The Power of Neurodiversity, Unleashing the Advantages of Your Differently Wired Brain. So a slightly different subtitle, but a lot of new information that I want to talk about in this series of videos that I'm going to be doing that'll be posted on YouTube. The title of the video today is Your Brain is a Rainforest. The human brain, as far as we know, is the most complicated, intricate organism in the universe. And it has 86 billion brain cells and 100 trillion connections between those brain cells. And really, someone said if the brain was so simple that you could understand it, you'd be so simple that you couldn't. And so there's a lot that we're still discovering about the human brain. But one of the things I want to talk about is the metaphors that we use in looking at the brain. For much of the Western history in the past 3 or 4 centuries, the emphasis on the brain has been that of a machine with lots of gears and pulleys and that kind of thing. More recently, with the rise of computer technology, the metaphor tends to be of a computer of some kind. But the brain isn't software or hardware, it's wetware, and it's had billions, well, not billions, but millions of years to evolve into its current state. And so I think a better metaphor to use in terms of the brain is comparing the brain to a rainforest, which is a living organism itself. The electrical impulses which travel along the axons of each brain cell mimic lightning in the rainforest. The traveling of neurotransmitters from one brain cell through the synapse to the next brain cell mimics the ebb and flow of the ocean, of the tides. The way in which nature can recover from damage, its resilience, so to speak, is shown in the resilience or the neuroplasticity of the brain. This woman, Christina Sandhaus, had a severe form of encephalitis when she was a child, and she had hundreds of seizures, in a short period of time. And so in part to cure of this and even to save her life, they actually took out the entire right hemisphere of her brain. So she had half a brain, yet despite this, she was able to finish school, graduate from college, get a master's degree in education, get a job as a special education teacher, and also raise a family of 2 children. So there's an amazing capacity in the brain to recover from damage, to compensate, so to speak, from dysfunction. And it's a very positive way of looking at a brain. The idea that a brain is more like a rainforest is not my own idea. It's that of Gerald Edelman, who's a Nobel Prize-winning physicist, who had this to say. He said the brain is in no way like any kind of instruction machine like a computer. Each individual's brain is more like a unique rainforest, teeming with growth, decay, competition, diversity, and selection. he had this theory of genetic or neural Darwinism, and it was the idea that neurons are competing against each other for the opportunity to wire to some stimulus in the environment. This is part of the neuroplasticity that we were talking about. And so this is kind of like animals in the rainforest competing against each other in a Darwinian fashion for supremacy. This is what's going on in the brain, especially in early childhood. So this is not simply a metaphor. I think it's a much more accurate picture of what the brain is all about. Now, the reason why these metaphors I think are important, are crucial to consider, comes up when we are trying to teach kids about their brains, particularly neurodivergent kids about their brains. A couple of books I want to highlight having to do with ADHD. The first book is called Otto Learns About His Medicine, a story about medication for children with ADHD. In this story, Otto is a small car, and his engine doesn't run too well. And so he uses a medicine which helps his engine run better. Another book called Ferrari Brain with Bicycle Brakes uses a kind of a different metaphor, but also a mechanical, machine-based metaphor. The idea being that the Ferrari brain is zooming off while the ability to inhibit those impulses are at the low technological level of a bicycle brake. And you know, the validity of these comparisons can be doubted, but I think that really what we're doing is telling kids, you've just got a machine brain and your brain has broken down, and so we need to fix it. And I'm not sure that's the message that we want to give to kids. I've put together a chart that shows different ways of teaching kids, particularly those diagnosed with ADHD, about their brains. We can take a deficit approach or a strength-based or neurodiversity-based approach. So as we've seen, these books that focus on Ferraris and bugs that VW bugs that don't run so well are based on machines or computers, whereas I'm suggesting we treat the brain and teach kids about the brain as if their brain was a rainforest, full of growth and promise. The chief need in a deficit-based approach is to fix what's broken or not quite right inside, whereas with a neurodiversity-based approach is to feed the brain to promote growth. The primary interventions for a deficit-based approach for kids with ADHD, behavior modification, and for most of them, medications. Whereas with a neurodiversity-based approach, we can use positive niche construction strategies. Now, I'll be talking a lot about positive niche construction in future videos, but basically it's creating environments within which an organism can prosper. It's like a spider spinning a web, or bees building a hive, or a beaver building a dam. They're creating an environment which allows them to function better. And so we use, again, a natural metaphor rather than something that's mechanistic, or in this case, medicine is a biological, chemical remedy. The chief goal with a deficit-based approach is to make the brain go slower or run better for the ADHD child, whereas for a neurodiversity or strength-based approach is to make the brain richer through neuroplasticity. It's using the neuroplasticity of the brain to create new brain connections and basically create a healthier brain. And the main attitude for a deficit-based approach is to help the child behave and attend better, whereas with a neurodiversity-based approach, it's to help the child employ a growth mindset, which is the belief that if I work at something, I'll get better at it, as opposed to a fixed mindset, which is the belief that, well, I was just born this way and I guess I'll have to deal with it. So that's it. I hope you get the power of neurodiversity and share it with your family, friends, teachers, therapists, and others who will benefit from it. If you want to get on my mailing list to receive my blog posts, many of which have to do with neurodiversity, go to my website, which is www.institute4learning.com. That's institute4learning.com. And on my homepage or on my blog page, either one, you can sign up. And if you sign up, you'll get automatically a 200-item neurodiversity strengths checklist, which is also taken from my book, that will leave you with a picture of your strengths, or whoever you give this to, forming a much more positive image than in the typical deficit-based tests and assessments that are given to neurodivergent people. So I want to thank you again for listening, for watching, and I hope that you found this video valuable. Look for other videos in this series. You can go to YouTube and look at my playlists for that. And I wish you a very good evening or day wherever you are, and much health. Thank you very much.